Hi, Facebook friends. It's me, Miss V, the storyteller, and I am here with another story. This story is for anyone who's a teacher. You're going to love it. Some years ago, I used to be a kindergarten teacher, and I worked in a private Christian school. I loved that because every morning we were able to have chapel service. We would all bring our kids from the classroom down to the chapel, and we would have praise and worship services. These were led by the kids. The kids would pray, they would sing songs, and sometimes they would even give words. And they loved this, especially the praise and worship. And as teachers, we loved it as well, because if we were having rough mornings, we were able to come in and get our praise on just like the children. So usually after chapel, when we got back to the classroom, if any of the kids had questions, I would take the time to answer their questions. And in one particular morning, one of the kids wanted to know if God hears them or sees them when they're doing praise and worship. I love that question. If you're a teacher and a student asks you a great question, you love it just as much as me, because you can't wait to answer that question, and I could not wait. And I said, oh yes, God hears and sees everything that we do. I said, some mornings when you all are really in it and you're giving God your all, you cause God to stop what he's doing, and he takes notice of you. He looks down at you and he is so pleased that his children are singing praise and worship songs, and they're praying, and they're even getting the word. God is so pleased. Well, the kids, they had big smiles on their face. They was like, oh, God hears me. He sees me. When I'm in chapel, God knows he can hear us. And they were just smiling. And then I said, God also notices when you're not doing right, when you're playing, when you're not singing, when you're not giving him your all. He sees and hears that as well. Well, some of the kids kind of looked around, and you know what kids I'm talking about. We've all had them in our classroom, the ones that no matter what you do, they just won't do right. Some of them were looking around, and I made sure I drove that point in. Yes, even when you're not doing right, even when you don't tell the truth, God sees and knows that as well. Well, the kids were pleased, and we went on with our day, and I thought to myself, this would be a great opportunity to make this an ongoing thing in the classroom. So what I started doing was, if the kids were misbehaving or they weren't telling the truth, I would go and I would pray and ask the Lord. So it would go something like this. If someone came to me and said, oh, such and such took my pencil off my desk, I would call such and such up and ask, did you take the pencil? They would answer the question, and then I immediately would say, just stop. I'm going to go and I'm going to ask the Lord about it, because we know that God sees and hears everything. So let me pray. I would bow my head and I would pray the same prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, I know that you sit high and you look low. So I know that you've seen everything that's going on in my classroom. You know if this person is telling me the truth or not. So Father, please let me know if they're telling me the truth. And then I would pause and make them wait. And then I would say, okay, God, thank you so much. Then I would go back and ask them again, and I would say, okay, I've gone to the Lord and I've prayed and he's given me an answer, because me and God are close. I talk to God all day. So God has given me an answer. Now I'm going to ask you this question again. And if your answer does not line up with what God says, you're going to be in big trouble. Worked every time. If they were not telling the truth, they would confess. If they didn't do it, they would tell on the person who did do it. It worked almost every time, and I loved it. And the ironic thing about it is, you would think that by me doing this over and over again, that the kids would get it. Some of them would just come right up and just tell a lie, and then I would have to do it, and then they would tell the truth. Well, on one particular day, you're going to love this one. The kids were out for recess, and one of my students, Brianna loved the swings. Every time we went outside for recess, she would shoot to the swings to be the first one to get on it. But on this particular day, she decided that she was going to share the swing with some of her friends. Now, this was not Brianna, but the fact that she was doing it, I loved it. Also, Brianna was very territorial over the swings. So if she allowed her friends to swing on the swing, nobody else was going to get on the swing except for whoever she decided was going to get on the swings. So on this day, she was at the swings. They were playing. I'm watching them on the playground. And then out of nowhere, I hear somebody screaming and hollering. And it's one of the boys, and he's running to me. He comes to me and he says, Sister Elliott, Brianna hit me because I wouldn't get off the swing. I already knew it was true. I knew Brianna. So I told him to go inside and to go to the nurse, have the nurse check him out. I called Brianna over. So Brianna's walking over to me, and as she gets closer, I look at her face and she has this look on her. Before I could say anything to Brianna throws up her hand and says, Sister Elliott, you don't even have to waste God time. You don't even have to ask him if I did it or not. Yes, I hit him. I was floored. I could not believe that child had just said that to me. I began to laugh and I had to walk away from her so that she would not hear me laughing. Because that was the first time that any student had ever did that to me. So I pulled myself together and I came back over to where she was. Of course, I made her apologize to the student, and then I made her sit out the rest of recess. That was a moment for me. That was a teachable moment for me because God reminded me at that moment that the kids really do hear and they listen to what we say and what we do as teachers. And I can guarantee you this, to this day, I really truly believe that Brianna knows that God sees and hears everything that she does and that she says. So I hope you love this story, especially if you are a teacher. Just know that the things that you're telling your students, the things that you're doing in front of the students, they really are paying attention. All right, Facebook friends, I will see you tomorrow with another story, and I hope and pray that you will have an awesome day. Bye.